Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Direwolf20's 1.16 FTB Pack, where today we're getting into some Woot. Alright, just upgrading some frequency modifiers. Played around trying to make tier 3 ones, and it seems like you need to get them to a stage where they have a tier before it'll work, because I just crafted a bunch of these and they didn't actually turn into the next tier of frequency modifier. But you can turn a litherite tier modifier into a chironite one. So just be a little bit careful when crafting them, because it seems like I was crafting. Maybe I should have crafted these first, and they're crafted with a litherite interconnect, and it wasn't actually making this frequency modifier. It was making this one here that's got no stats. And they don't actually seem to go to the right tier of modifier, which is a little bit of a pain, but got it figured out in the end. Upgraded the void ore miner to tier 3, and he's going pretty quick actually. So I'll get this guy finished, and then I might look at working on a tier 4 crystal miner, because I think we have the stuff. I think we have the stuff. Yeah, this definitely wasn't working before. When I used just the frequency modifiers that didn't have a tier, it was only drawing about 2000 RF a tick, so yeah. And then in total, our current drain is about around 26,000 RF a tick, which isn't bad. Yeah, I think I even got them actually in the middle. So potentially I upgrade this guy another tier, or maybe I make him into the tier 4 one, which, I mean, I should probably double check, but yeah, look how fast this guy gets ores. That's pretty cool. Our crystal one's still pretty slow, to be fair. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with, this is only a tier 3 void ore miner. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Right, so what I'd like to get into today is, I guess, prepare ourselves for when all of these ores become a problem. Which, I mean, in terms of processing, I think we're doing okay. I hooked this guy back up, and he just occasionally processes some stuff. In fact, maybe it's time to just let him go. Because we've got a full thing of sulfuric acid. I don't know how much is actually backstuffed back here. No, not actually heaps. There's just a bit in the pipes. That's cool. We'll leave him going for a bit. But yeah, we need more sulfuric acid, and I think the best way to do that is with gunpowder, because if you remember, gunpowder can be used in the chemical injection chamber with a bit of hydrogen chloride, which we're producing for our ore tripling in the background. So I think that's just with the thermal evaporation tank, but we need a bunch of gunpowder. Now I do have a creeper spawner. So if we popped over here, and we'll just quickly turn on the light, let some guys despawn. That's that creeper spawner. I'm spawning wither skeletons at the moment. And as we discovered, these guys aren't actual wither skeletons. And they don't give us wither skeleton drops. So we want the creeper spawner to be constantly going. And I guess I guess we'll keep a wither skeleton one going just for bones, because we've got plenty of blaze at the moment. And yeah, so we'll slowly get a bit of gunpowder through this. But what I would like to do is get into Woot. Because with Woot we can get a upgradeable creeper spawner. I mean, we could just go and get a bunch of like actual creeper spawners from some dungeons, but I mean that's kind of boring, and we've got all of these things. So I played around with this in creative a while ago. It doesn't just run on power, it runs on this Conatus fluid, and it actually seemed pretty cheap to run, but again I was in creative, so I was just infinitely getting stuff. Conatus fluid can be made from all sorts of stuff. They can use redstone to get Conatus fluid. So that there is probably the way we'll go, because we've got a bunch of redstone. And yeah, this Conatus fluid is pretty much it's the fuel for it. So if we get rid of all this stuff, still got to make that anvil. We need a fluid vat. And the fluid vat I think was pretty easy to make. I mean, let's get the Woot guide. If I don't already have it. I do have the Woot guide. Now there might be a few differences if you're playing the 1.3 version of the Direwolf20 pack, but I can't upgrade because there's problems with Optifine and something. I think it's still with the AMD graphics card that I'm using, so it just crashes and it doesn't run very nicely without Optifine for me. So I'll hold off updating, but there may be some differences. Like with environmental tech, I believe that's changed a little bit. It's no longer a shift right click to assemble it. It's got like a little button in the GUI, which sits up here, but not in this version. So the basics. TLDR, the layout guide, shows you the factory layout. We definitely want this. So the layout guide is probably the first thing we want to make. And it looks like we could almost make this if we had some rose red. I just made all the bees angry. Don't throw eggs at bees. Well, we just lost a couple of bees, but that's fine. And in our system, wait, did I not even get that rose? Well, I might just, oh, we're getting heaps of bones. We might just grow some flowers. So I think we now have the stuff for a layout guide. Nice. And it looks like this uses that cool manual thing. Cool. So the layout guide and the factory heart are directional. So that's the TLDR, right. So factory tiers. So every factory requires the following: heart, primary base, Conatus cell, ingredient importer, loot exporter. Factory comes in tiers. Yep. So these are the different tiers. So tier 1 also requires 2 amaranth blocks, which that's easy enough to make. That's just stone and dye. A factory connector, which is just, well, we'll see that, and a perk slot. So a perk slot's like the upgrade for the tier factory, so that should be pretty cool. Now, I don't know if we can use creepers in a tier 1, but we're going to find out. So we need a heart, primary base, Conatus cell, ingredient importer, and loot exporter. So a heart. We probably don't want to use a dragon head for that. And we need a machine casing. Here we go. This is where we get into some stuff we need to craft. So a Stygian iron plate. I think this is kind of like a basic crafting ingredient. So we're going to need a Yar hammer. We're going to need to make a plate die. We're going to need a Stygian iron ingot. So Stygian iron ingot looks like the first thing we need to make. Stygian iron dust. Okay, we make it like that, and you get a bonus with the Yar hammer. So let's make, I think we just need 1 for the Yar hammer. Let's give him a quick smelt. So we should be able to make the Yar hammer, but we are missing some string. 1 Yar hammer. So a plate die, we need obsidian, a stone slab. Obsidian and a stone slab makes a plate die. I don't think this gets used, but we also need a Stygian anvil. And hey, that's pretty basic, so we need some more of that Stygian stuff. And let's make the recipe that gets a bit more. So a Stygian anvil just needs an anvil. Woohoo, a Stygian anvil. Now, we'll set this up down here for now, just because it's kind of handy being there, and we're not using all of this space. So, Stygian anvil. We got this dude. Plate die. We need obsidian and a stone slab. So, I don't know which thing goes where. So that's the base item, and then obsidian. Okay, cool. If we grabbed our hammer. Anvil must be sitting on a magma block. Alright. Cool. We got a plate die. Cool. So we needed this machine casing, we need a bunch of Stygian iron plates, and hey, that doesn't look too bad. Now I'm hoping it doesn't use up the plate die. It doesn't. And 4 of these makes one of these. So we need 16 in total. Let's just craft a bunch of chests. And let's craft some machine casings. Because we just need 1. A machine casing. So to make the heart, we probably don't want to use a dragon head, because we can use a zombie head instead. Boom, a heart. So, aside from that, we also need a primary base. And I think we just need pink dye and magenta dye. I don't think it has to be these dye casings. Oh, hey, that's a better... Oh no, it makes 16 anyway. So, magenta dye plate and a dye casing dye. That's just obsidian and gunpowder makes that dye. Let's do that. So gunpowder must be the base, then obsidian, a dye casing dye. And I think this is going to be a good spot, because we needed magenta. And let's craft 4, because that's going to make a stack. And it was magenta and pink. And I think, yes, this is going to do this. There's a bunch of pink casing dyes. That's pretty cool. So to make a primary base, oh, we need a pink dye plate. Ah, okay, so we need an injection press. That needs another machine casing. And a dropper. An injection press. And let's go back down where we were. Oh, these guys need power. Cool. We have our injection press. Nice. So, to make the dye plate, I think it's just a dye casing. Right, it's not. So, I did look at this. I think we need some pure dye fluid. And we get a dye liquefier by the look of it. And that's just going to need some random dyes, piston, and another machine casing. Hey, a dye liquefier. Use glowstone or machine to swap to dump/strict mode. I think we'll be okay. So if you were here, does it need some of each? So red, yellow, blue, and something. So if we put a dye casing, it doesn't work. We need some dye. My question is, does this make the dye fluid? So we must need one of each. So it's yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue, and white. So we had one of each in here. Ah, it ended up over here automatically. So we now have some pure dye fluid. Put a pink dye casing in, we get a pink dye plate. Interesting. Let's just biff those two in. Two of these guys. Two of them. And two of them. We might actually make some botany pots and set up some sort of auto crafting using the Botania petals and flowers to make the dyes for us. And it'd be pretty easy to automate this. We have plenty of dye fluid. So we've got our dye liquefier, we've got our injection press, we need a primary base. Hey, a primary base. We also need a conatus cell. So I'm going to assume a basic conatus cell. And that looks pretty simple. Cool, one of them. And this, yeah, holds the conatus fluid. So, ingredient importer. And I'm not even sure what ingredients we have, but we need some more stygian iron plates. An ingredient importer. I don't know what the importer is that we import. Oh, that could be the conatus fluid, actually. Conatus? Who knows? And a loot exporter. And that just needs a hopper. So every factory needs those things. And then a tier 1 factory can support 1 mob controller. So there's a tier 2 supports 4 mob controllers. So I'm going to assume that that would mean we could have 4 different mobs spawning on the same factory thing. That'd be kind of cool. Let's start with the tier 1. So we need 2 amaranth blocks. And that just needs some magenta dye plates. And we needed 2, and it makes 4 anyway, so we just need 1 magenta dye casing in here. Nice. So, it's 2 more than we need. We need 2 factory connectors. Ah, and that's what we'll use those other amaranth blocks for. Perfect. And a perk slot. Now we need a purple dye plate. And hey, we got ourselves a perk slot. So we should be able to make our first tier of mob factory, but we also need this conatus fluid. And that is made in a fluid vat. And that's pretty simple. One fluid vat. And it's not going to show us what that's used for. So conatus fluid. Looks like for redstone we want some purge fluid, and that's just a fluid vat. Ah, this is what that's used for. Right, so we can use bones or ender pearls, make heaps. We'll probably use ender pearls. So if we get another fluid vat, do we want to have our mob thing in here? Because I think these guys can get pretty big. We probably want it semi-close so that we could still import the stuff. For now, we'll set them up. Set them up here. And I'll look at building some sort of an area for this guy. So we've got our flux point. And yeah, temporary location. We get our 2 fluid vats. So we got our first one, then our second one. And we need some of our advanced universal cable. So this first guy, let's say he takes some ender pearls. and water was the other thing. Wireless crafting gets us out of energy. It's because he doesn't charge in my inventory. So we want a sink. Because of course we do. Right, so he's got water. He's making purge fluid. We got some redstone. And drop it on the ground. And we put this redstone, went into my Dankanal thing, pocket storage. He's going to make Conradus fluid. Nice, and I think, okay, now I think we can run our thing. Let's move some of that out of the way. So if we grabbed our, I think we want the intern as well. Because this will build our factory for us. So this is going to build a tier 1 factory. So let's grab our layout guide. And let's see how this guy works. So he's showing us the top of the factory. So if we grabbed cobblestone and we put this layout guide here, this would be how tall a tier 1 factory is. And yeah, I think that's all right. Oh, we just broke our layout guide. Oh no, he's still there. So this is how big the tier 1 mob thingy Woot factory is going to be. So do we right click with this intern? So that hasn't actually built it. Okay, let's just build it by hand then. So, or maybe we put down the heart. Then we right click with the intern. Aha! Not a valid factory because it's what? Missing a primary controller. Ah, we need a mob controller. A mob controller. Ah, okay. Yep, I thought that was a little bit easy to assemble. So let's get rid of this layout guide for now. And that might help us see what we're missing. So I don't know where this mob controller needs to go. Alright, so a mob controller. It's going to need a stygian iron plate. We got them, and a prism, and a mob shard. So for that... So attack a mob with shard to capture. Kill mobs to fill the shard. Alright, easy. So we need a shard die, and it's just nether quartz and obsidian. Nether quartz, obsidian, hammer, shard die. So we need a mob shard. And what was it? Like an ender pearl. So mob shard, ender pearl, and hammer makes a mob shard. Nice. And then we need to fill this mob shard with the mob we want to capture. And let's make another one. Let's make a couple. Because, like I said, I don't know that we can have a creeper in a tier 1 Woot mob factory farm thing. And the Woot thing. Captured the mob. And then we have to kill 5 creepers, and I think we can just use our weapon. Kills 1 out of 5. Alright, seems pretty simple. And I mean, let's get ourselves a couple of different mobs. So we've got the creeper one. Let's grab a skeleton. Fully programmed. Nice. And we'll get some skeletons as well. I mean, spiders could be good as well. So we got our creeper one. Let's get a spider. There's a lot of mobs out here. Because string's always nice. And we want to try and use the creeper one for a start. We also need this prism, which is just an injection press with pure dye fluid and a bit of glass. So to make the mob controller, we need a Stygian iron plate. Whoa, we're getting armor. I think we might be getting armor from some of those dungeon mobs. I'm going to have to sort that. So that was on a Stygian anvil, right? So the base must be the creeper shard. And the prism, and then we right click for required tier information. Oh, we can use it in the first tier. Nice. And I don't know where this goes. Let's go like here. Hey, it's working. Oh, it does go there. Nice. So we've got our loot exporter. Pick in. Let's get a chest. And it's not going to automatically... Oh. How do we connect to our loot exporter? So it's doing something. Oh, but we haven't even put fluid into this yet. So is that why this isn't doing anything? If we got some mechanical pipes, and that is going to work, and we come out of this fluid vat, are we going to get some stuff now? Oh yes, we do. And look, we get those catalyzing glands, so that's going to give us gas tiers as well. So that's pretty sweet. So I don't know how we go about... I suppose we could just make another mob controller and replace it if we wanted different drops. But this is going to get us gunpowder. And we can turn these just straight into gunpowder as well. Awesome. Nice. That's pretty cool. I suppose the only other thing I'd like to check out would be perks. Use less Conidus fluid. I don't know how much we're actually using. It seems to be all disappearing, but I think a bit might be in this pipe. I can't actually see how much is in there. Yeah, it would be good to know how much fluid's in that guy. But perks we have, so we got use less Conidus fluid, change the looting level, that could be pretty cool. That needs a neophyte plate, which needs a liquid enchant. Liquid enchant we get from enchanted books. Is it just enchanted books? Looks like it. And it looks like different ones are worth different things. So multi-jump 9. Interesting. Would give us quite a bit. So rampage increases the number. So that also needs that. Maybe all of these need. This needs a diamond and a Stygian iron plate with liquid enchant. Right. Generate industrial foregoing essence. That's kind of cool. Tumbling dole of flesh perk. Generate industrial foregoing pink slime and liquid meat. Head star. Generate skulls. Chance to drop a skull. So this would be a good way to get more skulls, and potentially wither skulls for farming the wither. So we might actually look at doing that, maybe. Scale the summit. Here we go. This is what we need. Because this generates essence to upgrade the factory. I thought there was something like this. So I don't think we can just build a tier 2 factory. So if we looked at tier 2, it's going to need these amber blocks. And they need, I mean, that's easy. Secondary base, I mean, that's fine. Factory connector, that looks easy. So maybe we could make a tier 2, and that supports 4 mob controllers, so we could have 4 different mobs in it, as long as they were supported by tier 2. So maybe like your creeper, skeleton, zombie. Probably not enderman. I think enderman were a higher tier. Tier 3, that looks fine. Here we go. So tier 3, we need Celadon essence, and this here is the shards that you only get generated from the factory with the shard perk installed. Right. So to get all of these different shards, and I'm assuming this Byzantium one is like your higher tier one, we need the Scale the Summit perk, which means we need another injection press with some liquid enchant, and we get that from an enchant liquefier. Let's quickly whip this guy up. Now let's grab some enchanted books we don't need, like Soulbound. We got a lot of Soulbound. Okay, an enchant liquefier. Now we might chuck this over another one, because I don't want that liquid to go into this injection press. This is going to be just my dye one. So then if we had another injection press, he would live there once we put some power down there. And we would chuck in these books we don't want. And we end up with some liquid enchant. And to get the Scale the Summit perk, we need a nephrite plate, Stygian iron, and an iron ingot. And a neophyte plate, and that's gonna, yeah. Iron ingot, Stygian iron plate. Oh, that was working, it's just pretty slow. Hey, a neophyte plate. And then we wanted to use that. Man, we've probably got all of these things. We don't have a golden carrot. I've got golden carrots. Scale the Summit perk. Oh, and looking at that, I don't think this works on the tier 1 because it says, oh no, it does. Never mind, I take that back. I just can't read. So just right click. Nice. And then I'm picking it's not a super high chance. Oh. Hey, this is cool. So we use 200 millibuckets. I'm assuming each time it loops through. So we just need to keep a steady supply of ender pearls and... no, ender pearls go on this one. And then redstone would go on this one. Cool. And eventually we're going to end up with whatever those essence things are, but we can make a tier 2 mob factory heart thing. What do they call it? What is it for? It's a mob factory. Yeah. Nice. Well guys, we got ourselves our first Woot mob factory. It looks like it's getting us a bit of gunpowder. And yeah, I think I'll probably end up replacing that mob farm we got over there with a big one of these guys, because they seem pretty cool. I might set it up closer to the base, because we can do everything we're doing over there with these guys, We can get industrial foregoing essence, we can get the pink slime if we needed it, and it doesn't actually spawn mobs, so less laggy. Not that there's much lag with just me in the world anyway, but yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. Right guys, this has been ClassicDuff. You've been watching the episode. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.